The transport ship smelled like sweat, cheap food, and too many bodies packed into one space. Kang Taeyang dragged his worn duffel bag down the narrow aisle, bumping into passengers on both sides. The ship was full. Every single seat had someone in it. Aliens of every type sat shoulder to shoulder, trying to ignore each other for the long journey back to the core systems. Taeyang was exhausted. 3 years on, Korath 7, digging through ancient ruins, and he had nothing to show for it. His clothes were dirty. His hair needed cutting. His research notes were worthless. The artifacts in his bag were probably just old decorations. He was a failure, and everyone back at the university would know it soon enough. He walked past a group of Trell merchants, their insect-like bodies clicking as they talked in their strange language. He passed 2 Vesh diplomats, their crystalline forms reflecting the dim lights of the transport. A massive Grand laborer took up 2 seats, snoring loudly. Nobody looked at him. Good. He didn't want to talk to anyone. Then he saw it. One empty seat, all the way in the back corner. Strange. The transport was packed, but that seat sat empty. The passengers nearby kept glancing at it nervously. Some whispered to each other. Nobody wanted to sit there. Taeyang didn't care. He was too tired to care. He walked to the back and dropped his bag on the floor. As he sat down, he noticed the figure next to him. Someone in a dark hooded cloak, big, taller than him, even sitting down. He couldn't see their face. The engines hummed louder. The transport began to move, pulling away from the station. Taeyang closed his eyes, ready to sleep for the entire journey. Maybe when he woke up, his life would make sense again. "You found it," a voice said beside him. A woman's voice, speaking Korean. Taeyang's eyes snapped open. Korean? Out here? Taeyang stopped breathing. She wasn't human. Her face was long and elegant, with sharp features that seemed both beautiful and dangerous. Her skin was covered in scales that shimmered between deep red and gold, catching the light as she moved. Her eyes glowed with a soft amber light. 2 small horns curved back from her forehead. She was Draknari, a dragon woman. The Draknari were rare. Their species was old and dying. Most people lived their whole lives without meeting one. And here one sat, speaking perfect Korean, staring directly at him. "Finally, I found you," she whispered. Her voice carried relief and sadness mixed together. "I think you have the wrong person," Taeyang said, trying to keep his voice steady. His heart pounded in his chest. "No, you are Kang Taeyang, xenoarchaeologist. You spent 3 years on Korath 7. You found something there, something that belongs to my people." Her glowing eyes looked at his duffel bag on the floor. Taeyang felt cold. How did she know his name? How did she know about Korath 7? That dig site was registered under a different name. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. "I didn't find anything valuable. Just some old pottery and broken tools. Nothing special." The dragon woman tilted her head. "You lie poorly. Look at me and tell me you found nothing unusual. Nothing that called to you." Taeyang thought about the artifacts in his bag. Most were worthless. But there was one thing. A small crystal sphere, about the size of an orange. He found it in the deepest chamber of the ruins. When he touched it, it felt warm. It almost seemed to pulse in his hand. But his scanners showed nothing special about it. Just old crystal. Pretty, but useless. "My name is Yura," the dragon woman said. "I have been searching for you across 17 star systems. I tracked every xenoarchaeologist who visited Korath 7 inches the last 5 years. You were the last one. The only one who took something from the deep chamber." "How do you know all this?" Taeyang asked. Fear crept into his voice now. "Because that sphere in your bag is the heart of Ashara. It was stolen from my people 3,000 years ago. Without it, We are dying. Our children live shorter lives. Our memories fade. Our culture disappears. That artifact is not just valuable. It is everything to the Draknari. Taeyang looked at his bag. The crystal sphere. The heart of Ashara. He had been carrying one of the most important artifacts in the galaxy, and he thought it was just a pretty rock. I didn't steal it, he said quickly. The site was abandoned. There were no markers, no warnings. I didn't know. I know, Yura said. Her voice softened. You are not a thief. You are a scholar. But now you have something very dangerous, and very powerful people are looking for it. They tracked you too. They are coming. What? Who? Before Yura could answer, alarms screamed through the transport. Red lights flashed. Passengers jumped from their seats, shouting in a dozen languages. The ship shook violently. We are being boarded, someone yelled. The main door to the passenger deck exploded inward. Smoke filled the air. Through it came armed figures in black armor. Mercenaries. Their weapons were military-grade, illegal on civilian transports. They moved with precision, covering every exit. Nobody move, the lead mercenary shouted in Galactic Standard. We are looking for the human xenoarchaeologist, Kang Taeyang. Surrender now. And nobody else gets hurt. Taeyang's blood turned to ice. They were here for him. Yura was right. The dragon woman grabbed his wrist. Her hand was strong, her scales warm against his skin. Do you trust me? She asked. I don't even know you, Taeyang said. Then trust that I want you alive. They do not. She stood up, pulling him with her. Stay behind me. The mercenaries spotted them. There, the human and the Draknari. Weapons hot. What happened next seemed impossible. Yura moved faster than anyone Taeyang had ever seen. She grabbed a mercenary's rifle, twisted it out of his hands, and slammed her elbow into his helmet. The man dropped. She spun, kicked another in the chest, sending him flying backward into two others. Passengers screamed and ran. The transport tilted as the pilot tried emergency maneuvers. Taeyang grabbed his bag and followed Yura as she carved a path through the mercenaries. This way, she shouted, running toward the cargo bay. My ship is there. You have a ship? Here? I told you. I have been hunting for you. I came prepared. They ran through the chaos. Mercenaries fired shots. Energy bolts burned holes in the walls. Yura pulled Taeyang down as a bolt passed over their heads. She moved like a warrior, but also like she knew this ship perfectly. They reached the cargo bay. Huge containers filled the massive space. Somewhere among them was Yura's ship, but more mercenaries were coming from behind. There's too many, Taeyang said. Just run. Yura pushed him forward. They weaved between containers. Finally, Taeyang saw it. A small ship, sleek and dark, almost invisible against the shadows. Military design, stealth coating. Yura pressed her palm against a panel. The ship's door opened. Get in, now. Taeyang threw his bag inside and climbed in. Yura followed. The door sealed behind them. The interior was small but advanced. Dragnari design mixed with modern tech. Strap in, Yura said, jumping into the pilot seat. Her hands flew over the controls. The engines roared to life. Through the viewport, Taeyang saw mercenaries running toward them. One raised a rocket launcher. They're going to blow us up, he shouted. No, they want the heart intact. Yura pulled back on the controls. The ship lifted off. Hold on. The ship shot forward, crashing through the cargo bay doors. Alarms screamed as atmosphere vented into space. The transport shook violently. Then they were out, flying into the darkness between stars. Taeyang watched the transport shrink behind them. Mercenaries, explosions, all because of a crystal sphere in his bag. He looked at Yura. She focused on flying, dodging debris and incoming fire. She had saved his life. but he knew nothing about her. Who are those people? He finally asked. Yura's jaw tightened. Vaskara Collective. Corporate mercenaries. They have been hunting Dragnari artifacts for decades. They want our technology. Our secrets. If they get the heart, they will tear it apart to learn how it works. And what do you want from me? Yura glanced at him. Her glowing eyes were intense. I want you to help me return the heart to my people. Before it is too late. Before we lose everything. Taeyang looked down at his bag. Inside was an artifact worth more than his entire life, worth more than thousands of lives. And somehow, he was caught in the middle of it all. His boring, failed expedition had just become very, very dangerous. The stars streaked past the viewport as Yura's ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. Taeyang sat in the co-pilot seat, his hands gripping the armrests. His heart still pounded from the escape. Everything had happened so fast. 20 minutes ago, he was just a tired archaeologist trying to sleep. Now, he was fleeing from armed mercenaries in a stolen Draknari stealth ship. Are they following us? He asked. Yura checked her instruments. Yes. 3 ships. Vaskara Hunter-class vessels. Fast. But not as fast as this one. We have some time. Time for what? Time for you to show me what you took from Korath 7. Taeyang reached down and pulled his duffel bag onto his lap. His hands shook as he opened it. Inside were notebooks, scanning tools, and a cloth-wrapped bundle. He carefully unwrapped it. The crystal sphere sat in his palm. It was beautiful. The size of a large orange, perfectly smooth and clear like glass. But deep inside, patterns swirled like smoke frozen in ice. Under the ship's lights, it seemed to glow with a soft golden color. Yura stared at it. Her glowing eyes grew brighter. Slowly, she reached out and touched it with one finger. The sphere pulsed. Bright light filled the cabin. Yura gasped and pulled her hand back. The light faded. It responds to you, Taeyang said, amazed. It's alive somehow. 1. Not alive, but aware. The heart of Ashara contains the consciousness patterns of the last Draknari elders. Our greatest thinkers, our historians, our scientists. When our homeworld fell 3,000 years ago, they put their minds into this artifact. So our knowledge would not die with them. Taeyang looked at the sphere with new eyes. This is a computer? A data storage device? More than that. It is biology and technology merged together. Draknari biotechnology was far beyond what the galaxy has now. We could blend living tissue with machines. We could encode memories into genetic patterns. The heart is both organic and artificial at the same time. That's incredible, Taeyang whispered. He was holding something that combined disciplines that modern science kept separate. Can you access the information inside? Only certain Dragnari can. Those of pure bloodlines. Those trained in the old ways. I am one of the last seekers. Warriors trained to find and protect lost knowledge. Yura set the ship's autopilot and turned to face him fully. But there is something wrong. Something I do not understand. What? The heart should only respond to Draknari. But when you held it, it glowed. Just a little. I saw it. Taeyang looked at the sphere again. Maybe I triggered some kind of defense mechanism? No. It was recognition. Like it knows you. Yura's eyes narrowed. Have you ever been tested for alien genetics? Any unusual ancestry in your family? No. Before Yura could respond, the ship's alarms beeped. She spun back to the controls. They found us. Vaskara ships are closing in. They must have better tracking than I thought. Can we outrun them? Not forever. They have more ships, more resources. We need help. Yura's fingers moved quickly over the navigation panel. There is a place. Refuge station. Independent territory. Information brokers. Smugglers. People hiding from the law. If we can reach it, They cannot attack us openly. How far? 30 minutes at current speed. But they will try to stop us before then. Yura gripped the controls. Strap in tight. The ship suddenly dove downward. Taeyang's stomach lurched. Through the viewport, he saw energy bolts flash past them. The Vaskara ships were firing. Yura flew like she was part of the ship. She rolled, dove, and spun through the incoming fire. More bolts streaked past. One hit their rear shield. The ship shook. Shields at 70%, the computer announced in a calm voice. They are trying to disable us, not destroy us, Yura said. They want the heart intact. That's good, right? For now. But if they catch us, they will take the heart and kill us both. Taeyang held the sphere close to his chest. He felt its warmth through the cloth. Without thinking, he pressed his hand against it directly. Light exploded in his mind. He saw images. A beautiful planet with golden cities and crystal towers. Draknari flying through the air on wide wings. Children playing in gardens of strange plants. Then fire, darkness. Ships falling from the sky. The golden cities, burning. He gasped and pulled his hand away. The vision vanished. What happened? Yura asked, glancing at him while still flying. I saw something. A planet. Your homeworld. I saw it fall. Yura's expression went dark. That should not be possible. Only trained Draknari can access the memory visions. You are human. I don't know what I am anymore, Taeyang said. His head ached. The vision felt so real, so painful. Another energy bolt hit them. The shields dropped to 50%. Almost there, Yura said. Ahead, Taeyang saw it. Refuge Station looked like a massive wheel spinning in space. Ships of every size and shape docked at its ports. It was huge, big enough to hold thousands of people. Refuge Control, this is Vessel Dark Wing, requesting emergency docking, Yura said into the comm. Dark Wing, you are being pursued by hostile vessels. We do not allow military conflicts near our station, a voice replied. We are civilians. Those ships are Vaskara mercenaries. We seek protection under independent territory laws. A pause. Then, docking permission granted. Bay 17. But you will be questioned by station security. Understood. Yura pushed the ship faster. The Vaskara vessels stayed close behind, still firing. But as they approached the station, the enemy ships slowed down. They could not attack openly near refuge. Too many witnesses. Too many security systems. The ship slipped into the docking bay just as the shields failed completely. Yura set it down hard. Sparks flew from damaged systems. We need to move fast, she said, unstrapping. Station security will delay them. But not for long. Vaskara has money. Money buys time and permission. Taeyang grabbed his bag and followed her out of the ship. The docking bay was busy with workers loading and unloading cargo. Nobody paid attention to one more ship arriving. Where are we going? Taeyang asked. To find someone who can give us answers. Someone who knows about the heart and what it means. Yura led him through corridors filled with aliens of every species. Refuge Station was loud, crowded, and smelled like 1,000 different worlds mixed together. They walked for 10 minutes, going deeper into the station. The corridors became darker, less maintained. Fewer people walked here. Finally, Yura stopped at a door marked only with alien symbols. She knocked 3 times, paused, then knocked twice more. The door opened a crack. An old human woman peered out. Her face was scarred, her hair white. She looked at Yura, then at Taeyang. Her eyes widened. No, she whispered. Go away. I cannot help you. Professor Jiwoo, Yura said firmly. We need your help. We have the heart of Ashara. The old woman's face went pale. Impossible. It was lost, hidden where no one could find it. I found it, Taeyang said. On Korath 7, in the deep chamber. Professor Nam Jiwoo stared at him. Her hands trembled. You went into the deep chamber? And you survived? I'm an archaeologist. Exploring ruins is what I do. Jiwoo looked at him for a long moment. Then, she looked at Yura. Finally, she sighed and opened the door wider. Come in. Quickly. Before someone sees you. They entered her apartment. It was small, cluttered with books, artifacts, and old papers. The smell of tea and dust filled the air. Jiwoo locked the door behind them and checked the window, making sure no one had followed. Show me, she said. Taeyang unwrapped the sphere and held it out. Jiwoo's eyes filled with tears. She reached out with a shaking hand and touched it gently. The sphere glowed softly under her fingers. After all these years, she whispered. I thought I would never see it again. You know about the heart? Taeyang asked. Know about it? I found it. 50 years ago. I was part of an expedition to Korath 7. We were young, foolish, and excited. We thought we would be heroes. Her voice turned bitter. We found the deep chamber. We found the heart. And then they came. Who came? Yura asked. Soldiers, mercenaries. We never knew who hired them. They slaughtered my team. Everyone. I barely escaped. I hid the heart deeper in the ruins and ran. I have been hiding ever since. The Vaskara Collective, Yura said. They have been hunting Draknari technology for decades. They must have been watching your expedition. Probably. Jiwoo sat down heavily in a chair. She looked old and tired. I tried to forget about the heart. I tried to pretend it did not exist. But it haunted me. So much knowledge lost. So much potential. And I was too afraid to do anything about it. Taeyang felt sympathy for her. She had carried this burden for 50 years. Alone. We need your help now, he said. We need to understand what the heart really is. Why it is so important. Jiwoo looked at him carefully. You touched it. Did you not? The heart showed you something. A vision of the Draknari homeworld falling. It bonded with you. Recognized something in you. Jiwoo stood up and walked to a cabinet. She pulled out an old scanner, the kind used for genetic testing. Let me check something. She took a sample from Taeyang's finger. The scanner hummed and beeped. Results appeared on its small screen. Jiwoo's eyes went wide. Impossible, she breathed. What? Taeyang demanded. What did you find? Taeyang. Jiwoo looked at him with shock and wonder. You are not entirely human, Taeyang. You carry Draknari genetic markers. Ancient ones. Very faint, but they are there. The room went silent. Taeyang felt like the floor had disappeared beneath him. That cannot be, Yura said. Humans and Draknari never mixed. It is forbidden, against all our laws. Not always, Jiwoo said quietly. 3,000 years ago, before the fall, some Draknari believed their species was dying. They reached out to humanity. Genetic experiments. Shared DNA. It was controversial. Most Draknari rejected it. But a few tried. And it worked. Sort of. Taeyang sat down. His hands shook. Are you saying I am part Draknari? That is why the heart responds to me? Yes. You are a descendant of those ancient unions. The bloodline is very weak after so many generations. But the heart recognizes it. You are both human and Draknari. A bridge between two species. Yura looked at him differently now. Not with disgust, but with confusion, and maybe hope. The elders planned this, she said slowly. They wanted humanity and Draknari to merge, to create something new. That is why they made the heart respond to mixed bloodlines. This changes everything, Jiwoo said. If the Vaskara Collective learns about this, they will hunt every human with Draknari markers. They will want to control this power. Jiwoo said her. This power, Jiwoo said her. An explosion rocked the station. The lights flickered. "They are here," Yura said, drawing a weapon from her belt. Through the window, Taeyong saw smoke rising from other sections of the station. Security alarms wailed. The hunt had followed them to refuge. And now, nowhere was safe. Explosions shook Refuge Station. Alarms screamed through the corridors. Taeyong pressed his face against Professor Jiwoo's window and saw chaos below. People ran in every direction. Smoke poured from damaged sections. Vaskara mercenaries in black armor pushed through crowds, weapons ready. "They are attacking a civilian station," Yura said, her voice cold with anger. "That violates every treaty in the galaxy. Money buys silence," Jiwoo said bitterly. She moved around her apartment quickly, grabbing supplies and stuffing them into a bag. "Vaskara owns half the coalition politicians. No one will stop them. We have to run," Taeyong said. His heart pounded. The mercenaries would search every room, every apartment. They would find them eventually. "No." Jiwoo turned to face them. Her old eyes were hard now, determined. "You have to run. I will stay. Buy you time. They will kill you." Yura protested. "I am an old woman. I have been running for 50 years. I am tired." Jiwoo pressed a data chip into Taeyong's hand. "This has coordinates. A place called the Temple of First Flame on Sereth. That is where the heart belongs. That is where you can unlock its full power. Sereth? That planet is in the forbidden sectors. No one goes there," Yura said. "Exactly, which is why the temple survived. The elders built it as a backup. A place to store knowledge if everything else failed." Jiwoo looked at Taeyong. "The heart chose you. Trust that. Trust what you feel." "I don't understand any of this," Taeyong said. "I'm just an archaeologist." "Why me?" "Because you have both bloodlines. You are what the elders hoped for, a bridge between species." Jiwoo smiled sadly. "I studied this for decades. The elders believed that Draknari wisdom combined with human innovation could save both species. They were right. You prove it." Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside, shouting, "Weapons fire. Go." Jiwoo pushed them toward a back door. "There is a service tunnel behind this wall. It leads to the lower docks. Steal a ship if you have to. Just go." "Come with us," Taeyong begged. "No. This is my redemption. I ran once. I will not run again." Jiwoo's hand trembled as she touched his cheek. "Take care of the heart. Finish what my team started 50 years ago." The front door exploded inward. Mercenaries poured into the apartment. Jiwoo grabbed an old plasma pistol from her desk and fired. The lead mercenary fell. "Run!" she screamed. Yura grabbed Taeyong and pulled him through the back door. They ran down a narrow tunnel, barely wide enough for one person. Behind them, Taeyong heard more weapons fire. Then, silence. Professor Jiwoo was gone. Tears burned in Taeyong's eyes, but he kept running. Yura led the way through the maintenance tunnels. They climbed down ladders, squeezed through tight spaces, and avoided damaged electrical panels. Other refugees fled through the tunnels too, all trying to escape the violence above. Finally, they emerged in the lower docking bays. These were older sections, less maintained. Smuggler ships and illegal vessels hid in the shadows. "Perfect. That one," Yura said, pointing to a medium-sized cargo ship. "Old, but functional. We can hotwire it." They ran to the ship. Yura pulled open an access panel and started connecting wires. Her fingers moved with practiced skill. Within seconds, the ship's door opened. "Get in," she ordered. They climbed aboard. The interior smelled like oil and old metal. Yura jumped into the pilot's seat and continued her hot wiring. The engines coughed, sputtered, then roared to life. "They will track us the moment we launch," Taeyong said. "I know, but we have no choice." Yura gripped the controls. Hold on. The ship lifted off without permission. Station security shouted warnings over the comm. Yura ignored them. She blasted through the magnetic barrier and out into open space. Immediately, 3 Vaskara ships appeared on the scanners. They had been waiting. Of course, Yura muttered. She pushed the ship to maximum speed. This ship is not built for combat. We need to reach the jump point. Energy bolts flashed past them. One hit their side. The ship shook violently. Shields failing, Taeyang shouted, reading the console. I see it. Yura pulled hard on the controls. The ship spun wildly. More bolts missed them by meters. Taeyang clutched the heart of Ashara in his lap. The sphere felt warm, almost alive. Without thinking, he pressed both hands against it. Light flooded his vision again. But this time, it was different. This time, he did not just see memories. He felt knowledge flowing into his mind. Mathematics, physics, understanding of energy and matter at a level he never imagined. The jump drive, he said suddenly. We can modify it. Make it jump farther. What? Yura glanced at him. That is impossible. Jump drives have fixed ranges, not with Draknari technology. Taeyang moved to the engineering console. His hands flew over the controls. He knew what to do. The heart was teaching him. Reroute power from life support to the jump core. Adjust the quantum field generator by 3%. Change the coordinate algorithm. 2. That will kill us. Trust me. Taeyang made the changes. The ship's systems screamed warnings. The jump core temperature rose dangerously high. Jump now. Taeyang. Taeyang. Trust me. Yura hesitated for only a second. Then she engaged the jump drive. The universe twisted. Stars stretched into lines. The ship groaned as it pushed beyond its normal limits. Then, everything went black. When Taeyang opened his eyes, they were somewhere else. Empty space. No planets. No stations. No pursuing ships. Where are we? Yura asked, checking navigation. Far. Taeyang said. He felt dizzy. The knowledge was fading from his mind like a dream. The heart showed me how to extend the jump. We are probably halfway across the sector. Yura stared at him. You just did something no engineer could do. You modified a jump drive on instinct. You be a C. You a C. You be a C. The heart did it. Through me. Taeyang looked at the sphere. It still glowed softly. I think it is activating the Draknari DNA in me, making me able to access ancient knowledge. That is both amazing and terrifying. I know. They sat in silence for a moment. The ship drifted through empty space. No alarms. No weapons fire. Just peace. We should set course for Serath, Yura finally said. Professor Jiwoo gave us the coordinates. We must honor her sacrifice. Taeyang nodded. He pulled out the data chip and plugged it into the navigation system. A star map appeared. Serath was marked in red. It was far. Very far. In a region of space marked as dangerous. The forbidden sectors. Yura said quietly. Space-time anomalies. Radiation storms. Pirates. No one patrols there. No one will help us. But no one will chase us either, Taeyang pointed out. True. Yura plotted the course. It will take 3 days. Maybe 4. Then we have time. Time for you to teach me about your people. About what the heart really means. Lot. Yura looked at him. Her amber eyes were thoughtful. You are not afraid? Learning? You are part alien? I am terrified, Taeyang admitted. My whole life, I thought I knew who I was. Human. Korean. Simple. Now, I am something else. Something mixed. But maybe that is not bad. Maybe that is the point. The elders would have liked you, Yura said with a small smile. They believed in change, in adaptation. Most Dragnari wanted purity, but the elders saw the future. They knew we needed to evolve or die. Tell me about them. The elders. Over the next few hours, as the ship traveled through hyperspace, Yura told stories. Stories of the ancient Dragnari civilization. How they ruled hundreds of worlds with wisdom and grace. How they developed biotechnology that merged life and machine. How they could live for thousands of years. Their minds growing wiser with each century, but they were proud. When a plague swept through their species, they refused help from other races. They believed they could cure it themselves. They failed. The plague killed billions. Their homeworld fell into chaos. In the end, civil war destroyed what the plague had not. The elders, the last wise leaders, saw the end coming. They created the heart of Ashara and other similar artifacts. They stored their consciousness, their knowledge, their culture. Then they reached out to humanity in secret. Why humans? Taeyang asked. Because you are adaptable, Yura explained. Dragnari are long-lived but slow to change. Humans are short-lived but quick to evolve. The elders believed that combining our traits would create something better than either species alone. But your people rejected this. Most did. They called it impure, disgusting. The elders were labeled traitors. The experiments were stopped. The few mixed bloodlines were scattered across the galaxy and forgotten. Yura touched the heart gently. Until now. So I am a failed experiment? No. You are proof the elders were right. Yura met his eyes. You accessed Dragnari technology. You modified that jump drive. No pure human could do that. And no pure Dragnari could have your quick thinking, your adaptability. You are better because you are both. Taeyang felt strange. His whole identity had shattered. But maybe Yura was right. Maybe being mixed was not weakness. Maybe it was strength. On the second day of travel, Taeyang practiced with the heart. He learned to access its knowledge in small amounts. Engineering principles, medical techniques, historical records. It was overwhelming, but he was getting better at controlling it. Yura taught him basic Dragnari language. She showed him combat techniques. She explained the philosophy of the Seekers, warriors dedicated to preserving knowledge at any cost. They grew closer. Two people from different species, thrown together by fate. They laughed. They argued. They shared meals. Slowly, trust built between them. On the third day, they entered the forbidden sectors. Immediately, the ship's sensors went crazy. Space itself seemed unstable here. Stars flickered. Radiation levels spiked. Stay alert, Yura warned. Navigation is difficult here. One wrong calculation, and we could end up inside a star. They flew carefully, following the coordinates from Jiwoo's data chip. The journey was tense. Several times, they had to avoid sudden anomalies that appeared without warning. Finally, Sereth appeared on the scanners. A beautiful planet covered in purple and green. Rings of ice orbited it slowly. It looked peaceful, untouched. There, Taeyang said, pointing at the surface scans. That structure. It is huge. The Temple of First Flame appeared on their screens. It was massive, carved from a single piece of iridescent stone. Even from orbit, they could see its beauty, spirals and curves that seemed both natural and designed. We found it, Yura whispered. After 3,000 years, the temple still stands. They began their descent toward the planet. Toward answers. Toward the truth about the heart. And what it meant for both their species. But as they entered the atmosphere, the ship's scanners picked up something else. Energy signatures. Ships. Someone else was on Sirath. Impossible, Yura said. No one comes here. Unless they followed us, Taeyang said, fear creeping into his voice. On the screen, a familiar ship appeared. Sleek, military. Commander Hyun had found them again. The chase was not over. And now, they were trapped on a lost world with nowhere left to run. The ship shook as it entered Sereth's atmosphere. Taeyang gripped his seat, while Yura fought with the controls. Purple clouds surrounded them. Lightning crackled across the sky. The planet was beautiful but wild. The Vaskara ship is landing on the other side of the temple, Yura said, checking the scanners. They will reach it before us. Can we land closer? Too dangerous. The temple has defense systems. Old but still active. If we get too close, they will shoot us down. Yura found a clearing about 2 kilometers from the temple. We land here and go on foot. The ship touched down hard. Grass and strange purple flowers surrounded them. The air outside was breathable. The temperature pleasant. Sereth was a paradise world. Untouched by civilization. They grabbed their supplies and weapons. Taeyang secured the heart of Ashara in a protective case and strapped it to his back. It felt heavy now. Not just physically, but with responsibility. Everything depended on reaching the temple first. They ran through forests of crystal trees. The trees were transparent, catching the light and throwing rainbows everywhere. Beautiful, but strange. Alien. This was a Dragnari world, shaped by their technology thousands of years ago. How much time do we have? Taeyang asked, breathing hard. 30 minutes. Maybe less. Yura moved faster than any human could. Her Dragnari body was built for speed and endurance. But she slowed down for Taeyang, matching his pace. They climbed a hill and saw the Temple of First Flame for the first time up close. It took Taeyang's breath away. The structure was massive, larger than any building he had ever seen. It rose into the sky like a mountain, but perfectly shaped. Spirals and curves covered every surface. The stone changed colors as clouds moved overhead, shifting from deep blue to golden to silver. Your people built this, Taeyang said in awe. 3,000 years ago. And it still stands. The elders built things to last forever, Yura said quietly. They knew they were dying. They wanted something permanent to survive them. As they got closer, Taeyang saw movement. Black armored figures near the temple entrance. Vaskara mercenaries. At least 20 of them. They were setting up equipment, probably trying to break through the temple's defenses. Too many, Taeyang said. We cannot fight them all. We do not have to fight them. We just have to get inside before they do. Yura pointed to a side entrance, partially hidden by overgrown plants. There, the Seeker's door. Only those trained in the old ways can open it. They circled around, staying low. The mercenaries were focused on the main entrance and did not see them. Yura approached the side door and placed her hand on a smooth panel. Ancient symbols glowed under her palm. She whispered words in the Dragnari language. The door opened silently. They slipped inside, just as shouts erupted behind them. The mercenaries had spotted them. Seal it, Yura commanded. Taeyang pressed his hand against the door panel. The heart of Ashara reacted, sending warmth through his body. The door slammed shut and locked. Energy barriers activated. Outside, weapons fire hit the door, but could not penetrate. That will not hold them forever, Yura said. Move. They ran through corridors carved from smooth stone. The walls glowed with soft light, responding to their presence. The temple was alive somehow, aware of intruders. Ancient technology that still functioned after millennia. The heart knows where to go, Taeyang said suddenly. He could feel it pulling him, guiding him deeper into the temple. They followed the pull. Down spiral staircases, through chambers filled with strange machinery, past walls covered with writing in the ancient Dragnari script. Yura read some of it as they passed. These are histories, she said, her voice filled with emotion. Stories of our greatest achievements, our proudest moments, all recorded here. They entered a massive hall. The ceiling was so high, Taeyang could barely see it. Statues of Draknari stood along the walls, their stone faces wise and sad. At the end of the hall stood 3 doorways, each leading into darkness. The trials, Yura said, stopping. I heard stories about this. To reach the inner temple, we must pass 3 tests. Tests of worthiness. ROZ. ROZ. We do not have time for tests, Taeyang protested. Behind them, they could hear explosions. The mercenaries were breaking in. The temple will not let us pass without proving ourselves. It is the way. Yura approached the first doorway. The trial of memory comes first. We must face it together. They walked through the doorway. The world changed. Suddenly, they were not in the temple anymore. They stood in Taeyang's childhood home in Seoul. His mother was there, young and healthy. She looked at him with disappointment. You failed, she said. You wasted 3 years on Korath 7. You found nothing. You are a failure. Just like your father said you would be. The words cut deep. These were Taeyang's real fears. His mother had died 5 years ago. Seeing her again, even knowing it was not real, hurt terribly. This is not real, he said, his voice shaking. But the feelings are real, a voice echoed through the illusion. Memory is not just what happened. It is what we feel about what happened. Can you accept your failures without letting them destroy you? Taeyang closed his eyes. He had failed on Korath 7, or so he thought. But he had actually found the most important artifact in the galaxy. He did not fail. He just did not understand his success yet. I accept my past, he said firmly. My failures taught me. They made me careful, made me thoughtful. Without them, I would not be worthy of carrying the heart. The illusion shattered. They were back in the hall. The first doorway glowed with approval. Yura was crying. She had faced her own memories. Her siblings, all dead. Her people, dying slowly. The weight of being one of the last true seekers. I accept it too, she whispered. All the pain, all the loss. It makes me who I am. The second doorway called to them. They entered together. This time, they stood in a burning city. Draknari screamed as buildings collapsed. Children cried for help. In front of them stood a small spaceship, enough for 2 people, but dozens of Draknari surrounded them, begging for rescue. The trial of sacrifice, the voice said. You can save yourselves, or you can stay and die, trying to save others. Choose. Taeyang looked at Yura. She looked back at him. They both knew the answer. We stay, they said together. Immediately, the illusion changed. The burning city became a garden. Peaceful. Beautiful. The voice spoke again. Those who would sacrifice themselves for others prove they understand the heart of wisdom. You pass. They found themselves back in the hall. 2 doorways glowed now. One remained dark. The final trial. Explosions echoed louder. The mercenaries were getting closer. Hurry! Yura urged. They ran to the 3rd doorway and entered. This time, the trial was different. They stood in an empty white space. No illusions. Just Taeyang and Yura facing each other. The trial of unity, the voice announced. You are different species, different cultures, different goals. Can you truly trust each other? Can you move as one? The floor beneath them began to crack. Platforms appeared, floating in the white void. Some were stable, some would collapse if touched. They had to cross to the other side together. But the path was unclear. Listen to me, Taeyang said. Test each platform before fully stepping on it. No. Yura said. We move quickly. Trust our instincts. They looked at each other. Different approaches. Both valid. But they had to choose one. Together, Taeyang said, extending his hand. We combine both. We move quick, but careful. Trust and wisdom together. Yura took his hand. Together, they jumped to the first platform. Taeyang tested it. Stable. They jumped to the next. Yura chose that one by instinct. Also stable. They moved faster now, combining his caution with her speed. Human calculation with Draknari intuition. They reached the other side. The white void vanished. They stood in a new chamber. Deeper in the temple, all 3 doorways glowed behind them. You are worthy, the voice said. Proceed to the heart chamber. A final door opened before them, revealing golden light. They walked through together and stopped in wonder. The chamber was enormous. The walls were covered in crystals that pulsed with inner light. In the center stood a pedestal. Around the pedestal, holographic images floated showing the history of the Draknari people from the very beginning. Place the heart there, Yura said softly. Taeyang approached the pedestal. Behind them, they heard the mercenaries breaking through the temple's outer defenses. They were running out of time. He placed the heart of Ashara on the pedestal. Immediately, it blazed with brilliant light. The entire temple came alive. Energy flowed through every wall, every crystal, every ancient machine. Knowledge flooded into Taeyang's mind. Not just memories now. Complete understanding. He saw how Draknari biotechnology worked, how to cure their declining species, how to extend life, how to blend organic and synthetic, everything. But he also saw the truth. The Elders' plan. They did not just want to save the Draknari. They wanted to create something new. A merger of species. Draknari wisdom with human adaptability. A new people who could thrive for millennia. This is what they wanted, Taeyang said, tears streaming down his face. Not to preserve the past. To create the future. Yura touched the heart. She saw it too. The vision. The plan. Humans and Draknari. Working together. Breeding together. Becoming something greater than either species alone. Some of my people will hate this, she said. They want purity. Some of mine will fear it, Taeyang added. They fear change. But it is the only way forward, they said together. The temple's systems activated fully now. Signals transmitted across the galaxy to other hidden temples. Other lost artifacts. The knowledge of the Elders began spreading. Available to any Draknari who wanted to learn. The door behind them exploded. Commander Hyun walked in, his face twisted with rage and pain. He pointed a weapon at them. Step away from the artifact, he commanded. Now, Taeyang looked at the commander. The man was sick, dying. Taeyang could see it clearly now. His Draknari, enhanced senses, picking up the disease, ravaging Hyun's body. You do not want the heart, Taeyang said calmly. You want to be cured. The heart can do that. But only if you accept what it offers. I do not need philosophy, Hyun spat. I need the technology. The Vaskara Collective will pay billions for it. No. They will take it and lock it away. Control it. The Elders wanted this knowledge shared, not hoarded. Hyun's hand shook. He was weak, barely standing. You do not understand. I am dying. I need this. Then take my hand, Taeyang said, extending it. Touch the heart through me. It will show you the truth. Hyun stared at him. Suspicion and desperation warred on his face. Finally, desperation won. He lowered his weapon and took Taeyang's hand. The moment they touched, the heart's power flowed through both of them. Hyun gasped as visions filled his mind. He saw the fall of the Draknari, the Elders' wisdom, the plan for unity, and he saw the cure for his disease, encoded in Draknari genetic techniques. But he also saw the price. To be cured, he had to change. Accept the modification of his DNA. Become part Draknari himself. Hyun fell to his knees, tears running down his face. I cannot, he whispered. I cannot change who I am. Then you choose death, Taeyang said sadly. The Elder's gift requires acceptance, requires change. If you cannot adapt, you cannot be saved. Commander Hyun looked up at him. Rage and sorrow mixed in his eyes. Slowly, he stood and picked up his weapon. But instead of pointing it at them, he turned and walked away. His footsteps echoed through the chamber until he was gone. He will be back, Yura said. Maybe. Or maybe he will think about what he saw. Taeyang looked at the heart, still glowing on its pedestal. We changed his mind. Even a little. That is something. The temple was fully active now. Its defenses were online. The knowledge was spreading. But Taeyang knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge was ahead. Convincing two species to accept each other. To merge. To become something new. He looked at Yura. She looked back at him. In her eyes, he saw hope, and maybe something more. The Temple of First Flame hummed with ancient power. Light flowed through every crystal in the walls. The heart of Ashara pulsed steadily on its pedestal, broadcasting knowledge across the galaxy. Taeyang could feel the signals reaching out to distant worlds, waking up other sleeping temples, activating forgotten networks. It is done, Yura said softly. She stood beside him, her scales reflecting the golden light. The knowledge is spreading. My people will receive it. They will understand what the elders wanted. Some will reject it, Taeyang said. He knew this truth deeply. Change was always frightening. Some will call us traitors. Yes. But some will listen. Some will see the wisdom in adaptation. Yura touched the heart, gently. It responded to her, glowing brighter. That is enough. We do not need everyone. Just enough to begin. Outside the temple, they could hear Commander Hyun's forces retreating. The temple's defenses had activated fully, making it impossible for the mercenaries to advance. Energy shields blocked every entrance. Automated weapons tracked any hostile movement. The elders had built their temple to protect knowledge at any cost. He is leaving, Taeyang said, watching the scanners. Hyun's ship lifted off from the planet's surface. But he will report back to Vaskara. They will send more forces. Let them come. The temple is awake now. It will defend itself. And soon, other temples across the galaxy will wake up too. Vaskara cannot attack them all. Taeyang sat down on the smooth stone floor. Exhaustion finally caught up with him. Everything that had happened in the past few days felt unreal. He was not just a failed archaeologist anymore. He was something else, something new. Part human, part Draknari. A bridge between two species. What happens now? Yura sat beside him. Now we must face the hardest part. We must convince people to accept what we discovered. The Galactic Coalition. The Draknari Council. Everyone who fears change. They will want to study me, test me, see how human and Draknari DNA mixed. Yes, you will become famous, or infamous. Depends on who you ask. Yura smiled slightly. Are you ready for that? Taeyang thought about it. His whole life, he had preferred ruins to people. Ancient history to modern politics. He wanted to dig in the dirt and discover secrets, not stand in front of councils and give speeches. But Professor Jiwoo sacrificed herself to get them here. The elders planned for thousands of years to make this moment possible. He could not hide now. He had to stand up and speak the truth. I am ready, he said firmly. I will do whatever it takes. They spent the next few hours exploring the temple. The heart of Ashara had unlocked every chamber, every secret. They found medical bays with equipment that could cure diseases. Thought impossible. Libraries containing the complete history of Draknari civilization. Laboratories where biotechnology beyond modern understanding waited to be studied. This is enough knowledge to change the galaxy, Taeyang said in awe. Medicine, engineering, philosophy. Everything. The elders preserved their greatest achievements. Now we must decide how to share this responsibly. Yura examined a medical scanner. If everyone gets this technology at once, there will be chaos. Wars. Corporations fighting for control. Then we release it slowly. First to researchers, then to governments. Make it available to everyone, eventually, but carefully. Taeyang was already thinking like a scholar again. How to preserve knowledge while preventing harm. That will take years. Decades, maybe. Good. Important things should not be rushed. They returned to the heart chamber. The artifact still glowed on its pedestal, but gentler now. Content. Its mission was complete. The knowledge was saved. The message was delivered. Taeyang placed his hand on it one final time. Warmth spread through him. He felt the consciousness patterns within. The elders. Their minds preserved forever, in crystal and light. Thank you, he whispered to them. For trusting humanity. For believing we could be better together. A voice echoed in his mind. Ancient, wise, filled with love. Thank you for proving us right, young bridge builder. You are the first of many. The beginning of a new people. Then the presence faded. The elders were at peace now. Their legacy was secure. A transmission came through on their communicators. Yura answered it. An elderly Draknari appeared on the screen. Her scales were faded with age, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. Seeker Yura, the elder said. We received the transmission from the temple. The council is in emergency session. They demand answers. What have you done? I completed my mission, Elder Mireille. I found the heart of Ashara. I activated the Temple of First Flame. The elder's knowledge is now available to our people. You also revealed the existence of human Draknari hybrids. This information is causing chaos. Many council members call it heresy. It is not heresy. It is truth. The elders planned this. They wanted our species to merge with humanity. The 40 say. End quote. Elder Mireille was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I know. I suspected this for many years. But most of our people are not ready. They fear loss of identity, fear being absorbed by humanity, and disappearing. That fear is understandable, Taeyang said, stepping into view of the camera. But it is not what will happen. This is not about one species conquering another. It is about both species choosing to grow together, to become something new while honoring what came before. Elder Mireille studied him carefully. I am Kang Taeyang, human archaeologist. And yes, I carry Dragnari DNA from ancestors who lived 3,000 years ago. The heart recognized me because of that. It chose me to deliver its message. What is the message? That survival requires adaptation. That wisdom comes from accepting change. That true strength is found in unity, not purity. Taeyang spoke with conviction now. The heart's knowledge gave him confidence. The elders saw the future. They knew the Draknari could not survive alone. But combined with humanity's innovation and resilience, both our species could thrive. Bold words from a young human. Not just human. Draknari too. I am both. And I am proof. The elders were right. Elder Mireille smiled slightly. You have courage. The council will want to speak with you. Will you come to our capital world and testify? Yes. If you promise safe passage, you have it. By my word as council elder. The transmission ended. Yura looked at Taeyang with concern. The council can be harsh. They will question everything. Test your claims. Some will try to discredit you. When your claims, I know. But we have the truth on our side. The heart's knowledge. The elder's plan. Evidence that cannot be denied. Truth does not always win. Politics is about power, not truth. Then we make truth more powerful than politics. They prepared to leave Sereth. Before they departed, Taeyang took one last look at the Temple of First Flame. This place had changed his life completely, changed his understanding of who he was and what he could become. "We will return someday," Yura said. "This temple is too important to abandon." "Yes. But first we have work to do." They boarded their stolen cargo ship and lifted off. The journey to the Dragnari capital world would take a week. During that time, they prepared their testimony. They organized the evidence. They practiced their arguments, but they also talked about other things. About their lives before all this began. About their hopes for the future. About what it meant to be pioneers of a new kind of existence. "Are you afraid?" Yura asked one evening as they ate dinner together. "Terrified," Taeyang admitted. "Everything is uncertain now. My career, my identity, my future. But also excited. For the first time in years, I feel like my life has meaning." "You always had meaning. You just did not see it until now. Maybe." Yura thought carefully before answering. "I am afraid that my people will reject the elders' wisdom, that fear and pride will blind them to the truth. But I am also hopeful. Young Dragnari are more open-minded than their elders. They see that our species is dying. They want solutions, even radical ones. Change always comes from the young. The old are too invested in keeping things the same." Wise words for someone so young himself. They laughed together. In that moment, species differences did not matter. They were just two people, thrown together by fate, learning to trust each other. The week passed quickly. Finally, they arrived at the Dragnari capital world. It was beautiful. Purple oceans and golden cities. Spires reaching into the sky. Gardens floating on anti-gravity platforms. This was what remained of Dragnari civilization. Smaller than it once was, but still magnificent. They landed at the council chambers. Guards in ceremonial armor met them. They were polite, but cautious. Taeyang could feel their suspicion. A human here, claiming to carry Dragnari blood. It seemed impossible to them. The council chamber was enormous. Circular, with seats rising in tiers. 50 council members sat watching as Taeyang and Yura entered. The room was silent. Hundreds of eyes fixed on them. Elder Mireille sat at the center, in the highest seat. She gestured for them to approach. "Seeker Yura, human Taeyang. You stand before the council to answer for your actions. Speak. Tell us what you discovered." Yura spoke first. She explained her mission to find the heart, how she tracked Taeyang across 17 systems, their escape from mercenaries, the journey to Serath, the activation of the temple. Then Taeyang spoke. He told them about finding the heart on Korath 7, about learning he carried Dragnari DNA, about the visions the artifact showed him, about the Elders' plan for unity between species. The Elders believed that adaptation is not betrayal, he concluded. They believed that merging with humanity would not erase Dragnari culture but expand it, give it new life, new possibilities. I am proof this can work. Weed. Dude about time. Nude about time. Also calm. Weed. A council member stood. Old and scarred. His voice dripped with contempt. You are proof of nothing. You are contamination. An abomination. The Elders were fools if they thought mixing our pure bloodline with primitive humans would save us. Murmurs of agreement rippled through some council members, but others looked thoughtful. Primitive? Taeyang asked calmly. Humanity sent probes beyond the galaxy's edge. We developed quantum computing. We negotiated peace between a dozen warring species. If we are primitive, then primitives are quite capable. You are short-lived, reckless, emotional, yes. And those traits make us innovative, willing to take risks, quick to adapt. Your species lives long but changes slowly. By the time you reach a decision, the situation has already changed. Humanity's speed combined with Dragnari wisdom would create something balanced, Something better. Another council member stood, younger, female. I have reviewed the data from the temple. The medical techniques alone could extend our lifespans by centuries. Stop our species' decline. Are we so proud that we reject salvation because it comes in an unexpected form? Arguments erupted. Some council members shouted for tradition. Others called for change. The chamber filled with noise and conflict. Elder Murray raised her hand. Silence fell immediately. We will vote, she announced. The question is simple. Do we accept the Elder's legacy? Do we allow research into human Draknari genetic compatibility? Do we permit partnerships between our species, both cultural and biological? This is not a simple question. Someone protested. It is exactly that simple, Mireille replied firmly. Fear or courage? Death or life? Choose. The vote was close. 26 in favor, 24 against. But it was enough. The motion passes, Mireille declared. We will accept the Elder's gift. We will open research programs. We will encourage partnership between Draknari and humans who wish to participate. This is now official council policy. Cheers and angry shouts mixed together. Half the chamber celebrated. Half protested. Change was never easy. Mireille approached Taeyang and Yura privately after the session ended. You won today. But this is only the beginning. Many of my people will resist. Some. Violently. We know, Yura said. But we proved it is possible. That is enough for now. End quote. What will you do next? Mireille asked. Taeyang and Yura looked at each other. They had not discussed this yet. But somehow, they both knew the answer. We continue the work, Taeyang said. Find other lost artifacts. Spread the Elder's knowledge. Show both our species that unity is possible. Together, Yura added. Mireille smiled. Good. You will need each other. The path ahead is difficult. 6 months later, Taeyang stood before the Galactic Coalition Council. It was time to present the Draknari proposal. Time to ask humanity and other species to consider genetic partnerships. Time to propose a future where species boundaries became softer, more flexible. His speech was broadcast across 100 worlds. Billions watched as he explained the Elder's vision, as he showed evidence of successful human Draknari integration, as he argued that diversity through unity was the galaxy's future. Not everyone agreed. Many opposed. But some listened. Some saw the potential, young people especially. They saw Taeyang and Yura as symbols, proof that different species could work together, love each other, build something new. The Galactic Coalition voted. The proposal passed narrowly. Human Draknari partnerships would be permitted. Research programs would be funded. The great experiment would begin. Years passed. The first generation of intentional human Draknari children were born. They were beautiful, strong, intelligent, long-lived but adaptable, wise but innovative. They proved the Elders right. Taeyang and Yura became legends. The Bridge Builder and the Seeker. Their names were taught to children as examples of courage and vision, but to themselves, they were just two people who took a chance, who trusted each other, who believed that differences could be strengths instead of weaknesses. On the anniversary of their meeting, they returned to Sarath. The Temple of First Flame had become a pilgrimage site. Thousands visited each year to see where the great change began. They stood in the heart chamber, now open to the public. The heart of Ashara still rested on its pedestal, glowing softly. Do you ever regret it? Yura asked. Taking that last seat? On the transport? Taeyang smiled and took her hand. Human skin against Draknari scales. 2 different textures. 1. Touch. That was the best decision of my life, he said. Our journey began there. Our mission. Our bond. Together, they said at the same time. Around them, visitors of every species walked through the temple, learning, growing, understanding that the future belonged to those brave enough to embrace change. The elder's dream was coming true, slowly, imperfectly, but truly. And it all started because one exhausted archaeologist took the last seat on a crowded transport, and a determined dragon woman whispered words that changed the galaxy. Finally, I found you.